come once again to discuss things.
Oh, yeah, that's like right there at the top. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Alright, let's go ahead and get started then. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. This is another episode of Geeky Gentlemen Holiday Month. This is also another episode of Geeky Gentlemen Fan Film Reviews. Joining me today is, of course, Rasco, and I am always your jolly host, Sid Part 2. Jolly.
What up?
Bowl full of jelly kind of belly I got here. You can tell that. Anyway, Rasco picked our fan film review for this week. So, Rasco, what are we reviewing today?
Today, we're talking about Punisher, The Hostage, Part 1 and 2.
Are we reviewing both parts?
Are we?
I thought we were just going to review the part 2 since it ended up being kind of its own story. Very loosely
if you
tied
want
to
to
the
do that,
first
that's
one.
fine. We don't have to talk about the Part 1. I just thought you wanted me to, so I watched both parts. But
No, I watched both parts too, but that's because I assumed they'd be more tightly connected than they were.
yeah, I feel like let's just talk about... I kind of want to talk about both parts because I feel like I'll have a lot more to say.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, like, we could start by just talking about how loosely connected these things are. Like, the only connection between them is it's the same guy's house that Frank stayed at in the first film, that the second film takes place in, primarily. And they mention the sniper is after Frank Castle.
Yes.
Those are really the only connecting elements.
Yes, but it's very intertwined.
Yeah? I don't know. What'd you think generally of these, Rasco?
Okay, so these are like on the like on the kind of like fan films that I like watching. This was on like the side of like these are the kind of things that this is a real fan film. This is really overly ambitious, but it's the acting's not great, the editing is not great, but it's one of those things where you can see where, like, if they had all of the right tools at their disposal, that they could have made something pretty competent. Not that it's, like, incompetent, but, I mean, this is a fan film. But they really are, like, going all out and going for it. Like, they've... Just some of their, like, things that they're doing with, like, his training montage, all the, like, the little funny camera things they do so that you can see him, like, lifting all of that weight, but they just don't have the actual weights in frame. It's like, things like that are just really fun. But I don't know, like, I just like how they went for things in this. Like, they went for, like, we're gonna have a flashback to Iraq, and they have, like, stock footage of Iraq, and I'm like, that is hilarious.
I mean, yeah,
awesome.
like, I thought that was a smart use of stock footage, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make it more believable, because while I'm sure there are brick buildings in Iraq, the fact of the matter is film is a visual medium and it uses visual shorthand. So one of the ways we communicate, like, Middle Eastern war zone is, instead of, like, brick, it's like, plaster and concrete kind of buildings, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that was good, scouting location. It's believable enough for the purposes that they use it here.
Yeah, like, they just went for it. They're like, you know what, we're just going to have It's one of those things where you can watch it and you can imagine what it would look like with a budget.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you have fan films that are like this. They're very amateur. They're obviously working with very restricted resources and they're having to, like, make do with what they have. But they try to go ambitious, and it's just, like, so not even close. Like, you can't even imagine what it would look like with the budget. This is different where, like, I understand exactly what this would look like with proper sets and proper actors. Not to be too harsh on them as actors, but the acting is not very great and is not very good in this. But it's fine because I understand what they want me to take away from it. Like, I understand. Like, they're speaking the language of cinema a little bit here. It's just that they're kind of held back by their limited resources. and
Yeah,
stuff like
I think I could agree with that for the most part. Because like I feel this does the second one in particular. The first one's a bit of a mess. There's just no way around that for me. The first one's like there's a standoff, there's like a Mexican standoff, and just it's just a mess story wise, and there's no real character progression for the Punisher. He's just kind of there to shoot things. But the second one, I don't know, that's a pretty Punisher kind of moment right there, where he's like confronting someone. It's like, you enjoyed the killing too much, and the guy like straight up tells him, I think you're the one that enjoys killing too much. Like, I don't think, like, okay, here's the weird way in which to talk about that. I can talk about that in the way in which it's presented in the movie, which is there's no evidence for that whatsoever in either of these fan films, that Frank enjoys killing too much. But knowing the Punisher as a character, like I'm sure these guys do, yes, that is a really, really great assessment of Frank Castle's character. Mm-hmm. It's just, like, it's that matter of, I know what you're going for, because I've read the comics too, versus here's what you actually did. And I think what would help a lot of fan films, and what would help, you know, major studios like Warner Brothers and DC, is to realize you should make things that the fans of the property will enjoy, but you should also make things to some degree that a general audience who has very little to no knowledge of the character can also enjoy. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is really, really necessary, because otherwise you lean on too much of a crutch of, oh, the people I'm making this for will get it. And I'm sure they will. But you don't want just them to see it. You want other people to see it too, and you want everyone to be able to enjoy it. And so that's just a general tip that I think a lot of fan films could use, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can I just say, like, my favorite thing in like either one of these is in the second one. This was legitimately cool when the Punisher is like putting down his gun, and then like as he's putting down his gun, he just like quick draws out a pistol and shoots the guy. Mm-hmm. I thought that was so cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was pretty good choreography. Would you agree with me that the gunplay choreography is a lot better than the hand-to-hand fights?
Yeah, it is. Like, no, it really is. In that standoff scene, it is kind of weird, but like when he finally does turn around and shoot the guy who has the hostage, it looked cool. Like the way it was shot, and like it was punchy, and it was just, I don't know, it was really cool.
Yeah, it was really well cut. And I think what it is like these guys look like, you know, I mean, obviously with all the props, I'm pretty sure most of these were airsoft rifles and stuff. Like I'm pretty sure you could even see the orange cap on one of them that they maybe painted over or colored over with like a Sharpie or something. Like I'm pretty sure these guys know what they're doing on, like, you know, they've probably been out to an airsoft range or something at some point. And if not, they handle the weapons reasonably well so they don't look like complete idiots holding them. So the gunplay stuff looks pretty good. Like I really like the moment when it's in the flashback and the sniper like gets up and like points the rifle to take a shot. You know, he's in still a squatting position that just, it really adds an air of believability to the whole thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, that. Yeah, that's another reason why, like, I say they clearly understand like a lot of things. So like, I feel like if you gave them like a better script, they could actually make something pretty cool. Like if you gave them like, because I think that the problem with both of these is more or less that there's not a lot on the page, and they understand where there needs to be kind of like emotional payoffs or like moments. Like for example, this ends on this like emotional like moment of reflection for Frank where he's like, I just killed that guy, and it's kind of supposed to be tugging at your heartstrings, I guess, and it doesn't really land, but they understand that like maybe that is some sort of encounter where like an emotional response should be elicited from both Frank and the audience and stuff like that. It's just like the script is not very good.
Yeah, I'd tend to agree. Like the script, if you've read Punisher, if you know Punisher, this is a decent script. And again, I'm only speaking about the second one because I think the first one is just a mess. Like I part of the reason I didn't really want to talk about it is because I think that one's really bad. But I think the second one is a big improvement. And so I'm like, on all accounts, it's better shot, there's better sound, there's better music, there's better timing, there's better choreography, and it's just better written. It's not
more cohesive.
Definitely. Yeah, it's not great, but it is a marked improvement. And this came out a couple years ago, right? Where's that at? Shit. I had it up.
2016 is when part 2 came out. I'm not sure about.
Okay, so 2016. They've improved. The first one came out in 2015, so there's about a year and some change between these. And there's marked improvement. They also are making a Punisher series now. I think they got an Indiegogo or something. I'm just looking around on their channel, and they are working on a Punisher series now. So they are improving, and that's good. If you're going to keep making fan films, for the love of God, don't just be doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's a problem.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's good to see. I mean. In a lot of ways, that's the kind of like the whole point. You have to make things, like you just have to like bust through that like phase of just like have not made anything. You have to just like take a step sometimes, and as long as like what you make just gets better and better and you gain more experience, like that's like the whole point, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. So it's ambitious, but it pays off well. There is marked improvement. What do you think about the ages of the actors in this?
Everybody's pretty much too young, but
yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, again, I can just imagine everyone being older. Like I can imagine what this looks like when you give it money. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's fine, and like I like the Punisher outfit, which is like like the black long sleeve Punisher shirt, and he's got like a belt. I just like how that looks. It's kind of cool.
See, for me, I thought the actors, like, these guys look like they're all in their early 20s, and like either late teens or early 20s to me, and that is just fundamentally the wrong age for Punisher, no matter how you get around it. Like, Punisher is supposed to be just this hard-boiled old man who, like, was discharged from the military for just being too old to stay in, kind of thing, and at least in the way I've always pictured him. And just like, especially with this trying to tie it into Frank's military career, something about it just doesn't fit. Like, there's a point where I can go, okay, yeah, young actors in fan films, it's whatever. When you try to tie it that closely into their characters, like, past, these guys look like they should just be in the military, not like they've served,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a layer within the writing that draws attention to the age for me in a way that other stuff wouldn't with the same aged actors. That, I mean, Punisher has acne, and it doesn't fit the imagery of the Punisher. And nothing you can do about that. It's part of aging. But it looks off. Locations.
Another issue that they had to, they couldn't really overcome. They have to use some houses in some pretty normal looking neighborhoods. But, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know, like the first one's in like a bathroom somewhere, I assume maybe like a church
that was
or a
actually,
school.
Yeah, no, that worked. That was fine, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel the location for the second one fit reasonably well. I mean, like, he goes there in the first movie to, like, hide out, lay low for a while. That's, I don't know, like, having that, have some comeuppance, having his ally get, taken hostage and stuff. In his house, it kind of fits. I honestly don't think it's that big a problem. I feel like it's meant to be praised. If anything, that's intelligent use and writing around your limitations.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, it's been handled worse. There have been like things where things will just like we've seen some fan films where things are just like randomly in neighborhoods, and there's not even like an attempt to write around it. And sometimes people can't do anything about that. Yeah, in this at least they like didn't just say, you know what? Why are they in a neighborhood? You know what? That's why. Just waving their hands in their face. That's why. At least they came up with a reason.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be addressed. I will say one thing I didn't like is the more sweeping shots of the neighborhood. Like when he leaves, and he's like in the Grand Prix, the Pontiac. He's just driving through the neighborhood, through the suburbs. I'm like, you don't need that. Like, yes, you have the limitation of you're in the neighborhood and you can't do anything about that. You don't need to show the whole neighborhood, though. Because, like, if you shoot it tight enough, if you avoid wide shots, it can still look like it's, like Queens or something. It can look like one of those older, more compact style neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So that was just something that I, realized and thought about. Okay, let's talk about the kind of elephant in the room, at least for me. Is the second one a Christmas fan film?
It's got Christmas music.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it's not really a Christmas fan film. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, like, everyone and their mother argues that Die Hard's a Christmas film. And, like, what does Die Hard have to do with Christmas besides it's snowing and, like, they play Christmas music a couple times? So, I guess on the level of Die Hard is a Christmas movie, this is a Christmas fan film. But, like, I don't know, there's something to the idea of The Punisher having a Christmas fan film that sounds like it could be much more interesting if it actually focused on Christmas and the meaning of Christmas than this does. Like, maybe that's just me, but, like, I legit think that you could do an interesting Punisher story actually focusing on the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was kind of a letdown in that regard. I feel like the only reason this is a Christmas fan film is because there's snow on the ground.
Yeah,
it's totally unnecessary.
I feel like somebody had the idea, like, ooh, what a juxtaposition it would be to have Christmas music playing while Punisher is, like, suiting up. I didn't really think about it more than that. It was just kind of like that image.
Mm-hmm. That and just that's the only time you hear Christmas music is just when he's suiting up.
Maybe in his car in the beginning.
Maybe it'd be very brief and it's in the background, not focused on.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not really a Christmas fan film. I don't care.
No, I mean that's fine. It says what it is in the title. You're allowed to pick it on that alone. I'm just saying, like, I don't even think it's necessary. Like, I could totally re-edit this, just take out the music, take out the Christmas songs, and it's the same movie. The fact that this is taking place around Christmas means absolutely nothing. Like, does the guy even have Christmas decorations up in his house?
I don't think so.
Because if so, that's kind of funny, to be honest. I gotta, like, keep going back through and looking through this thing over and over again to try to find different things about it. Because I'm just gonna start, like, watching it as Punisher enters the house. Also, great job on Punisher breaking into the house. That was a great use of breaking a window without having to break the window. I was very pleased with that. I was like,
oh
okay.
Yeah, I agree.
That was pretty good. So yeah, I'm just watching Punisher, like, go through this dude's house, and, like, there's garbage bags in the windows, which actually makes sense for the hostage takers to do, but I don't think there's any Christmas decoration, which, like, just in and of itself, why is it a Christmas fan film then? Like, I could see, okay, your parent, like, the people that own the house, parents, whatever, won't let you put up Christmas decorations, or won't let you, like, take down Christmas decorations, so you turn it into a Christmas fan film. But if there are no Christmas decorations up, the fuck's the point? It seems like that has to be an intentional choice.
Yeah, the fuck.
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but I really don't like the hand-to-hand combat choreography that they do on the stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was just pretty, like, I mean, there's really no word for it. It was just bad hand-to-hand combat.
I mean, yeah, it was, but, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, you have good gunplay. I would just recommend sticking to gunplay. Or at
Yeah,
least...
I just kind of didn't buy that they would actually get in a fist fight there.
Oh, really? You didn't buy the situation?
Yeah, it felt a little contrived, but, you know, I could be led to believe that that would happen. You just need to know both of their characters more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. This unfortunately becomes one of the ones where it's not a ton to talk about without just devolving into complaining. Did you have any thoughts on the first one? Because we haven't talked about that one very much.
I did not like the, I liked the idea of, like, Punisher shoots the cop, and then he just, like, kind of is like, you're about to bleed out and go unconscious. I'm just gonna wait for that to happen and leave. I liked that. I thought that was fun. I don't really like that the dialogue in the scene, though, where, like, the hostage is, like, talking about, like, you're just doing this because you're your family, Frank. And, like, she's kind of like, nobody has to die here, that whole situation. I don't know why she's saying that. Like, I just don't buy that she would actually think that, like, she's going to talk that situation down.
Yeah, and I don't understand why she's supposed to know that about Frank Castle.
Well, I guess... I don't know. That was the other thing. I didn't really understand why she knew that necessarily either. But then I was like, well, I guess maybe the public knows that Frank Castle's the Punisher and that... Because we just don't know, like, what the status quo is in this Punisher verse. So, like, we don't know if he's just known as the Punisher. We don't know if the police know that the Punisher is Frank Castle and if that's public information. If it is public information, we don't know if people have looked into Frank's past and dug up that his family was killed and that there's, like, a connection there between his motivation for his murders. And, like, there's so much stuff that we just don't know. So, yeah, like, it either doesn't make sense or it maybe could, but we'd need extra information.
Yeah, between that and, like, I'm not sure if it's a fake beard or just a really bad beard. There's just a lot in that one that I'm so glad there was just such marked improvement, because I got really worried about going into the second one after watching that. Sound quality, we don't usually get this far into it, but when we start to look for things to talk about, so in the first one, it's pretty piss poor sound quality. The second one, the sound quality makes pretty good step up, almost to their detriment, because I feel like the character playing the sniper has a bit of a lisp, and I don't know if I necessarily would notice that if the audio hadn't been as sharp.
That's fair. I thought they did muzzle flashes on this.
Yeah, those look pretty good, and it's not a hard effect to do, but it's integrated well.
Yeah, I was surprised how good it looked compared to, like, some other things I've seen, like, not from these people, but from, like, other fan films operating at about this level. Like, sometimes I've seen terrible muzzle flash effects.
Fair point. Well, don't have a ton else to say about it. I guess this is going to be a really short episode then. Did you have, like, a favorite moment, like a thing that you just thought, okay, this was really, really good?
I've mentioned it earlier, just when he's, like, putting down his gun and then he just quick draws his pistol out, and it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree. I liked the Punisher suit up thing. I thought I liked the set design for Punisher's, like, lair or whatever you want to call it. I thought that looked pretty cool with all the guns hanging and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was, like, kind of some of the stuff where I was like, you know what, like, yeah, they're like, they're trying. Oh, like, I loved when they had the shot when he's, like, picking a weapon where they obviously had to, like, move that shelf with all of the guns forward and get behind it so that they could have, like, a shot of the camera on the other half. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like moving down the shelves of, like, the big thing with all the guns. I thought that was just kind of cool because, like, again, that was like what I was talking about when I'm saying, like, I can see, like, what that would look like with a budget, and if that was, like, an actual wall of guns and, like, yeah, I don't know. I just think that's cool.
No, I agree. There's a lot to like about this, as like growing pains-ish as it is. My But for me, I did like the Punisher's like suit up thing. I like the Punisher's headband. That's a nice throwback to like 70s era Punisher, so that's cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on to ratings. Rasco, I'll let you go first.
I'm just gonna give like rate it as a single entity. I don't care. I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of 5 Punisher skulls.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also gonna just rate them as 1, but keep in mind I'm almost entirely ignoring the first one because I just don't have anything to say about it. But I'm gonna give this 2.5 out of 5 Punisher headbands. So yeah, that'll do it for that. All right, next week, everybody, we will be reviewing the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special from 2002. So tune in for that, and we'll see y'all then. Till next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the beta male cock.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Fuck.
Yeah, a lot of these don't look very good, do they?
No.
I had a feeling this would be hard to pull off, but I figured there was enough stuff that we could make it.
These all look terrible. Oh my god, I keep trying to find like specific fan films and shit like that. Oh my god. Because all the Christmas ones look cringy as fuck, and I'm just not gonna be able to talk about them. And then all these fucking superhero ones, like, there are no superhero fan films that are very Christmassy besides Punisher.